we got a trampoline for the backyard. In all my dad's previous building shenanigans, I had been too young or aloof to help. Or I couldn't hold the light good enough. But this time, I was gonna help Dad build the trampoline and prove to him that I could be handy too. This trampoline used metal leaf springs instead of normal springs. You would use a special tool to bend the metal leaf to clip into the trampoline mat. I was the designated leaf spring bender, and Dad was the designated mat clipper. As we clipped more and more springs, it got harder and harder to get them to connect because the mat was so stretched out. Dad held out the mat and I bent the leaf spring with all my might. I pushed and pushed as hard as I could. Then, the tool slipped off the leaf spring and slammed into Dad's head. Oh my gosh! Dad, are you okay?
It's okay, it's just pain.
Having a powerful imagination was a good thing in many ways, but this also meant that I was scared very easily. Taking the trash out in the dark felt like a life or death experience. I was convinced that an evil clown or alien would kill me if I didn't do it as fast as I could. And of course, when I turned out the last light in the house, I had to run to my room as fast as I could so that a shadow demon wouldn't catch me. Even as an adult, I avoid horror movies. It's just not worth it to me. I'd rather be happy and sleep well. But I wasn't just susceptible to scary things in movies. I also fell victim to fear-mongering stories designed to make me more obedient from my parents.
This is Santa. If you're a good boy, he'll give you a present at Christmas.
Awesome!
And this is the boogeyman. If you're a bad boy and disobey us, he'll kill you. Slowly and painfully. He'll violently rip your arms off and use them to bash your head in.
My dad really told me that if I played too many games on the GameCube, that it would take over my mind and I'd never be able to stop playing. This scared me to my core, and it's the reason I didn't start playing a lot of video games until I was 14. But there is something to be said about how good it was for me to play outside all the time. I am grateful that I didn't fry all my dopamine receptors with an iPad at age 5. Instead, I spent my time in glorious nature eating dirt. I wanted to win something for once. I just hadn't found the right game yet. Mario Kart. I don't consider myself to be a very competitive person, but as you've seen here today, video games are the exception, especially Mario Kart. Fortunately, my spirit of competition is well placed because I'm amazing at Mario Kart and you can't beat me. But I wasn't always this way. It all started, of course, with Mario Kart DS. My brothers and I would race each other for dominance, but I didn't understand the drift mechanic, so I would just kind of turn and throw bananas, and I could never beat my brothers. When they finally did show me how to drift, it took a lot of getting used to. You have to wiggle the D-pad back and forth in order to build up a charge that boosts you forward, and it was really hard for me to manage that while controlling the trajectory of my turns at such a young age. Clearly, I had much to learn. That being said, this was the first time that becoming better than my brothers at something didn't seem impossibly out of reach. I wanted to win at something for once, and I could feel the potential within myself. I wanted to be player one, so I hunkered down and continued my training arc. Wait, I'm first! I'm gonna win! Like I said earlier, it was fun to play with the other homeschooled kids, but a frustrating part was that I was usually the one to pitch the game that we should play next, and it usually went something like this. How about we play tag? No. How about we play wizards? No. How about we play hide and go seek? I'll only play if Jenna plays. I'll only play if Rachel plays. I'll only play if Josh plays. Please just say yes, Josh. Everything is riding on you. I don't want to play. Then I arrived at the Rolling Green Galaxy. That sounds like a fun, easy, kid-friendly level. Not! If the Stingray race broke me, this one shattered me. In the level, you bounce on a ball that has a star inside it and use motion controls to lead the ball through obstacles and past Goombas to reach the end and unlock the star. And I just couldn't do it. I kept falling off, which made me impatient, which made me go faster, which made me fall off more, and the cycle just continued. At 6 years old, I just did not have the coordination or fine motor skills to beat this thing. But I was determined. I didn't want to ask Brody for help again. I wanted to be a big boy gamer. I hunkered down and died over and over for an hour straight. But then finally, I got past the spot where I usually fell. I was close to the end. I shakily crossed a bridge, and the flag came into view. My hands were shaking. The adrenaline was pumping. I could almost taste my victory. I launched over to the last island. I had made it. I tilted my Wiimote all the way forward, but... No! I literally tripped at the finish line. My confidence was shattered, and I had to go collect myself in the other room. But I would not let this fiery crucible break me. I would allow it to forge me into something stronger. I stepped back in and entered Ultra Instinct mode, and I finally beat it. And that's when I felt it. The gamer's high. All my dopamine receptors fired, and I jumped for joy.
This is the greatest day of my life!
But then it was time to move again. I said goodbye to my friends, we did another cross-country road trip, and arrived at our new house in California. I made some new friends in the neighborhood, and it was time for me to take on public school. And I hated it. But it's okay to hate things, it builds character. Plus, my grades were really good if we're going by golf rules. And having my friends with me made it a lot easier. And now I am a very well-rounded, well-adjusted, socially adept young man. Yeah, me and my cousin were hanging out, and, we built a Lego set the other day. You like Lego? I love Legos. Did you know that Lego was invented in 1932 in Denmark by a man named Ole Kurt Christiansen? Originally, they were just wooden toys, but eventually they started making interlocking plastic bricks to create a system in which all their toys could be linked together. Despite many hardships, including their factory burning down, Ole and his family persevered and continued to manufacture the unique brick system. Then in 1978, the Lego minifigure as we know it was created. Minifigures are a high-value collector's item. In fact, a recent study showed that buying Lego sets was a better investment than the stock market because of how well they hold their value. This means that buying and building Lego sets isn't just a fun hobby, it's a smart way to use your money. Guys? However, a hobby that has stuck with him through the ages is remote-controlled cars, trains, boats, and planes. This leads into another instance of his poor knowledge application, that being using said RC vehicles around the family dogs. You would think that after seeing this happen that he'd, I don't know, put the dogs inside or fly his RC toys somewhere else, but nope. The same story has happened on pretty much every family camping trip. No! Stupid dogs! No! Stupid dogs! No! Stupid dogs! Yeah. They're the stupid ones. But the sad thing is, if the dogs don't destroy the RC planes, Dad definitely will. I can't count how many RC planes he's crashed. It's not even a question of if he will crash them anymore, it's when. On our most recent trip, Dad bought a big fancy plane that could take off and land in the water. He gathered us all together to watch its maiden voyage, and we all just watched sadly, anticipating the inevitable. No! Stupid plane! Basically, these dumb teeth were dooming me to another appointment with pain. I sat in the chair, and I wanted to try and resist the sleep medication, but it went more like this. Okay, this medication is gonna make you a little sleepy. I can resist this easily.
And you're done.
Oh, what? It seriously just felt like... Then my face swelled up and I lived on the couch for 2 weeks off mashed potatoes, applesauce, and ice cream. So, it wasn't all bad. And that was my dental journey. It definitely hurt and there were some questionable decisions made, but at least that orthodontist can afford a pool in his backyard now. All in all, I'm actually grateful to have nice teeth, and I'm very lucky that my mom loved me enough to fix these chompers, because my bite attack does way more damage now. At 16 years old, I was 5'2" and 80 pounds. I remember that because that's seriously the size I was for like 6 years. I was definitely not an average teenage boy. I was great at hide and seek, however, I could not go outside if wind speeds were too high. So, my parents took me to see a doctor.
Yeah, he's definitely underdeveloped. I feel bad for him because men like to feel like alpha males, and he obviously isn't. I mean, look at him. So I'm going to recommend testosterone treatment.
This was a shock to me. I knew I was small, but I generally tried to just ignore it and live my life. I figured that being uncomfortable in your body was kind of just part of being a teenager and that everyone grows at different paces. But this medical professional told me that my body wasn't manly enough and then immediately suggested TRT to a 16-year-old, which I think is pretty crazy. We even got a bone scan done and found out that my bone age was that of a 12-year-old.
Okay, here are the results of the scan. Travel home safely now. This dude's bones suck! I mean, look at it! That's just shoddy workmanship right there!
But one of my art projects backfired badly. I decided that the next time I visited my friends that I wanted us all to pretend that we were Sonic characters. My brother Brody had shown me how to draw Sonic, so I drew a bunch of Sonics with different props and different colors. I basically drew a bunch of Sonic OCs, do not steal. And I wanted to staple the papers together into a book so that I could bring it to my friend's house and we could all pick which one we wanted to pretend to be. I grabbed the stapler and... I stapled it directly onto my thumb. And at that moment, I finally understood why cartoon injuries were animated like this. Because that's how it felt.
My finger has a heartbeat.
A disadvantage of my eyes being weird is that the floating finger illusion has never worked for me. Apparently, for normal people with normal eyes, if they hover their fingers in front of their face and focus on something in the distance, it looks like there's a magic floating sausage in between their fingers. But I'm not like other guys. It doesn't work for me. It just makes me look stupid in public when I try to do it. Maybe the illusion doesn't even exist. What? I'm just supposed to take your word for it? I've never seen it, therefore it's probably not real. Just like the curvature of the Earth! Get out! Quicksand, tornadoes, the Bermuda Triangle, and piranhas haven't been an issue either. What I should have been scared of was housing prices and taxes. No one warned me about that. When I was 5, I was wasting my time watching Thomas the Tank Engine when I should have been investing in real estate. I probably could have purchased this house for 6 Lincoln Logs and a stick of gum, but now it costs $2 million. I'm such an idiot. But I digress. Plus, I'm not dead yet. The quicksand and tornadoes still have a chance to get me.
Next obsession, animals. I used to love catching frogs and then racing them against each other. If my friend had a pet, I would insist on holding it and petting it. In fact, my discovery of YouTube was just me watching videos of hamsters for hours on end and begging my parents to let me get one. And eventually, they finally caved and got me one. The day I got him, me and my family were watching the Bee Movie. So I named my hamster Barry, short for Barry B. Benson, of course. But then I decided to introduce Barry to my dog Duke, without consulting my parents. Rest in peace, Duke. Duke slowly sat down, gave him a sniff, and very gingerly murdered Barry right in front of me. Mom! And that's why I don't watch the Bee Movie anymore. Rest in peace, Barry.
Back in my day, there were no video game tutorials on the internet. The only way I could learn what I needed was through rumors on the playground and hints from my brothers. So this information was very valuable. Then Brody taught me how to backwards long jump and travel at the speed of light.
Yahoo! Yahoo!
My mom did a great job teaching me. She made learning fun with field trips and games, and the one-on-one teaching worked very well for me. I couldn't do what she did. I'm horrified by how quickly my future kids' math homework will be beyond my knowledge. Instead of experiencing the rite of passage of crying at the kitchen table as their dad tries to help them with their math assignment, they'll have the unique experience of crying with their dad about the math assignment. What is 7 times 6? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I finally had all my adult teeth, and my dental troubles were over. Or so I thought. A year later, my family moved. I thought I was in the clear until Mom took me to another orthodontist.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the first set of braces really did anything. I mean, only an idiot would put braces on baby teeth. Yeah, I would recommend getting new braces now that the adult teeth are in.
I freaking love The Incredibles. Having a whole family of supers fighting together is just an awesome concept, and I love it so much. The soundtrack goes hard. I can't even handle it. The animation is amazing, there's great character design. The first Incredibles is a classic, and it's peak Pixar. I literally watched The Incredibles while my little brother was being born. It's a core memory. Bryson, come meet your new baby brother. Hey, welcome to the world or whatever. Do you want to watch The Incredibles?
I used to watch the show, my parents got me the little wooden toys of the trains, and my dad even made me a train table to play with them on. Thomas, look out! There's a child on the tracks! Oh no, his brakes are broken! He can't stop! They are now dead. Thomas is tormented by his actions and turns himself in to the train authorities. Thomas is charged with 1 count of accidental manslaughter and will face 10 years in train prison. Honey, I think Bryson overheard you watching Forensic Files again.
Speaking of math, I definitely experienced the rite of passage of crying at the kitchen table while your dad tries to help you with your math assignment. I was never a good student, but since we moved around a lot, I had to deal with every school system we were in saying, we do math a little differently around here. So that definitely didn't help with our father-son math time.
That's not the way you're supposed to do it, Dad. They want us to do it this
I don't
way.
know that way. Why would they change math? Math is math.
Okay,
Math
Dad.
is math.